Hello, hello. This is my artifact episode number 3727. Today's date is March 7, 2026. It's been almost like night at 10:46 p.m. This morning I didn't really record artifact because I was kind of like a little bit occupied. Whatever. Let's just jump into the question. Let's go. All right. Question is, when I fail to maintain a habit, what story or explanation do I tell myself about who I am? Okay, that's a really good question. Okay. First of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? A couple of days ago, I read a book, Atomic Habit, and it was a really good book. I wanted to implement the value uh, that book taught me in my life. So I went to ChatGPT, say that I read this book, suggest me 20 questions so that I would supposed to be implement the value in my life. So ChatGPT kind of like suggest me 20 questions. This is one of those questions. Now, regarding about the question says that when I fail to maintain habit, what story or explanation do I tell myself about who am I? Okay, first of all, this is thing. Do I fail to maintain habit? Yes, so many times. Okay, yeah. What kind of like a habit that you fail to maintain? One of the biggest habit that I fail to maintain is masturbation. Okay. Um, I like basically is this thing na ki masturbation is a kind of like addiction, and yes, I think I am addicted, and I try to stop it multiple time. I try to stop, and I fail so many time. Why? It because of that ki I don't want to stop. Honest answer, I don't want to stop. Like basically what exactly happened now ki okay, is this thing that ki from my point of perspective, might be I am kind of like a wrong, but this is my point of perspective. Okay, yeah. Okay, listen, masturbation is not a disease. Masturbation is not a wrong thing. Masturbation is a kind of like it happened. When you are grown up, it happened. Okay, yeah. When you do too much, obviously it's a problem. Okay, yeah. And basically it's this thing na ki your body is automatically release this stuff. We call them at a nightfall. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki if I am kind of like a live in maybe 100 years ago, probably in that period of time masturbation will not even exist. Okay, yeah. Why? At that time people doesn't really have penis? No, they have it, but it's a kind of like a thing that na ki they don't really have that kind of like concept. If they are horny, they just fuck. Right, yeah. But in today's world, we can't do that. Right? There are so many factors are actually involved and things and that and that. I'm not saying masturbation is kind of like something right. I'm saying is that ki the world that we are living, and obviously in the future, the world that we are living is a kind of like a bit more complicated. Obviously, we are human and we do have needs too. Okay. When you have the kind of like a person that you could kind of like somebody express your that activity, then okay, you could do like you have a girlfriend, then obviously why do you need? If you are wife, then why do you need to masturbate? Right? But if you are alone, you are kind of like somebody like then in that period of time do it. But still it's like probably what I'm saying is that na ki from my point of perspective, as I mentioned, it's my point of perspective, might be I'm kind of like completely wrong, what I'm saying is that कि I realized that कि I was addicted. So, and I try multiple time to stop this masturbation, but I couldn't able to do this thing. So I decided that instead of stopping myself, I would minimize that, and I did minimize. I kind of like a masturbate after kind of like a 3 or 5 days of gap. Okay, yeah. I make sure that kind of like a 5 days of gap should supposed to be maintained. Okay, yeah. And after the 5 days, I should supposed to be do this thing. So basically, is this in like I reached to the 5 days of gap. Okay, yeah. And I try to maintain that 5 days of gap. Sometime 3 days, sometime I try to make sure that 4 day, but make sure that 5 days. Okay, yeah. Kind of like that. Okay. And this is what it is like this is what like I try to make sure that 5 days of gap should supposed to be maintained, and right. So I'm trying that thing, and sometime I fail, sometime I did not maintain that thing. Okay, sometime I masturbate after 4 day. Okay, then I kind of like something that is stressed out, and then I masturbate after 5 days, whatever. But I think that ki like is it my kind of like a simply habit? Well, like what is actually excuses for that? Like I don't really have any excuses, but like it's a kind of like a thing. Okay, yeah. like basically it's this thing I from my point of perspective, okay, yeah, is that ki like I do a lot of research. Okay, yeah. I watch hundreds of videos and things and that lot of doctor recommendation and things and all those things. Okay, from my point of perspective, this is just my opinion. Probably I'm completely wrong. Okay, yeah. Once in a week, had enough. That's it. Okay. Try not to do too much. Okay, yeah. If you are doing twice in a week, consider normal. Okay, yeah. But if you are doing 3 times in a week, then that is a wrong. And if you are have more in number, like basically 4 times or 5 times in a week, oh my god, you are literally a kind of like some disease. Okay, yeah. So this is what it is. I try to make sure that ki minimize it. Okay, yeah. So do that thing. Okay. Masturbation is not a disease. It's a kind of like a thing is happened. Okay, yeah. Another thing is that ki I suggest you, if you are masturbating, try not to watch porn while masturbate. What do you mean? Like if you wanted to masturbate, obviously you need a porn. Okay, yeah. No, don't watch porn. Okay, yeah. Like close your eyes, imagine whatever the dirty thoughts that you have and just let it out. Like what exactly happened na? Ki if you are kind of like a thinking that, like what exactly happened na? Like it actually happened with me. Okay, yeah. And I try to kind of like stop and things like that. Like what exactly happened? Okay. So I open porn website. Okay, yeah. And scroll through hundreds of videos and things and that and that and that and that and that. Now what exactly happened na? I was not addicted to the masturbation. I was addicted to porn. Okay, and that is wrong thing. Like let me tell you one thing na. Okay, yeah. After you masturbate, you will not be able to kind of like something watch porn. Okay, you can't. If you are watching after you masturbate, dude, you are legitly wrong. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that he do not spend too much amount of time on watching porn, or like basically do not watch porn. If you wanted to masturbate, just masturbate. Okay, just masturbate. Just close your eyes, or I don't know, just put the dirty thoughts and things and just do it. But in some certain context, that might be not really good too. Why? Because our thoughts are very crippled. Okay, because when you are in that particular zone, okay, you might think very wrong, because our thought process need a kind of like a proper direction. If it doesn't really have any direction, it will kind of like a think very dirty. Dirty means like a way much dirty. Like way much dirty means what? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, yeah. When you watch porn, okay, yeah, you need a kind of like a visualization. Okay, yeah. Porn is a kind of like a complete that visualization. You've seen everything, a face, body, everything. Okay, yeah. But when you visualize it, okay, yeah, you don't really see in the body, you don't really see in the face and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Now, when that thing actually happened, then body might be kind of like a somewhat something similar. Okay, because you already imagine what would be woman body look like, you imagine, but face is very difficult to imagine. And in this particular context, this might be wrong. Okay, yeah. Because you might imagine someone which is kind of like a probably you known, and then this is like a really fuck. Yeah, really fuck. Okay, yeah. So I don't know how do I supposed to explain this thing. Now, did I kind of like actually masturbate without watching porn? Well, like instead of kind of like actually watching porn, I kind of like assembly like figure it out something like I don't know. Okay, it's like that na ki like this is kind of like a technique that I heard. I try, but I like still it's very wrong. Okay, yeah, like I try to visualize. I visualize like a Karina Kapoor. Okay, yeah, I don't know why I visualize that, and I just like feel like, dude, it's just so wrong in so many ways. Okay, yeah. Uh, like I shouldn't supposed to talk about that thing, yeah, dude. Like I am kind of like a talk about very, very nonsense stuff. Probably just don't believe in me or don't just act anything at all. Just if you are masturbate, just make sure that ki masturbate at least like a twice in a week. Like basically it's this thing, like if you wanted to control once in a week, okay, yeah, or at least like a 4 or 5 days of gap. Make sure that you're supposed to have 4 and 5 days of gap. When you have that 4 and 5 days of gap, it would be really good. Okay, yeah. And if you're not doing it really well, and also is this thing, if you have a girlfriend or if you have a wife, dude, what are you doing? You shouldn't supposed to be masturbate, dude. Like a sex is not just for fun. It just is like basically is this thing now. Obviously I'm not a kind of like a be in relationship. Okay, yeah. But what I realize that na ki sex is a really good in between partners, and it builds the relationship. So if you have a girlfriend, if you have a wife, obviously it's this thing, build that relationship, build that sex relationship. It's very much essential. Okay, yeah. So but still don't trust me regarding about anything point of view, because in this particular scenario chapter I might not have any expertise of anything at all. I haven't really been dated anyone, I never really been on relationship. I just maybe kind of like my words are just empty. I'm not really sure, but this is what I think probably. Whatever. So this is kind of like actually my habit that I maintain to fail. Okay, yeah. Is there any other kind of like a habit do I have that I maintain to fail? Well, there are so many habits I try, I fail, I took a gap, and then I try again. Like, let me tell you one thing. So basically, is this thing November? No, not November. Yeah, November. Yeah, October, November, 2025. I started using uh, like a brain training application. Okay, yeah. Lumosity, Brilliant, Elevate, and Duolingo. These are the 4 applications which are kind of like a really good for brain training exercises, language learning exercises, and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. I also bought the subscription for those 4 4 application. Okay, yeah, which cost me like a very much. Okay, yeah. Then I started using that application. I started using this application for almost like a lot, like literally lot. Like I spend almost like a on Duolingo. I spend almost like a half an hour on on Lumosity, on kind of like a Lumosity. Spend 1 hour, Brilliant 1 hour, Elevate half an hour, almost like a 3 hour. I spent on brain training. Okay, yeah. Now you said that is a really good thing, right? Yeah, that is a really good thing. I thought it that so. But the problem is that na ki when I put too much amount of intensity, consistency is very difficult to maintain. And that is the one thing that I realize. Because what is actually happened that na I tried to do this thing for almost like a month. Okay, yeah. But then after that, my other activities are hampered, like my editing, my content creation cannot able to be executed on time and things and that and that. So I realized that I should supposed to be stop. So I was not kind of like using anything at all. I was just using Duolingo, and only for just a 5 minute. That's it. Okay, yeah, to maintain the streak. Rest of the apps I'm not using anything at all. And then just a month ago, I decided that no, like I am kind of like using those application very wrong way. I decided that ki try not to use too much. Spend almost like a 10 minute in application, not more than that. Okay, and since then I'm kind of like a decided that let's spend almost like just 10 minute, and kind of like a make sure that ki whatever the kind of like assembly, make sure that ki this 4 application should have supposed to be consume not much amount of time. Why? Because if it kind of like a consume too much amount of time, and if it kind of like consume too much amount of energy, then I might not do it. Why? Because it's very difficult to not, it's very easy to not to do this thing. I just not to do this, that's it. Okay, so so basically this thing, in the beginning I failed to maintain that habit, but I learn from it. I learn from that ki if you try too much, it's very difficult to consistent. So I make sure that ki let's take a small baby steps, and just be continue, just being consistency. Make sure you show up every single day. So this is a kind of like a stuff that I learn from it. Okay, yeah. And is there any kind of like a habit is that I fail? Well, no, not really that much. Okay, yeah, whatever the habit I have, I maintain, and I maintain consistently. Like a recording artifact. Okay, yeah, I am doing this thing for last 11 year. Okay, yeah, running, I am running for last 4 year. Reading book. Well, basically this thing, this year I started reading a book. Okay, yeah, I'm reading a book every single day, consistency for almost like a 2 week, almost like a 2 months. Okay, yeah. Brushing teeth twice in a day, shower twice in a day. Shower twice in a day, I've been doing this for almost like a 5 year. Brush twice in a day, I've been doing this thing for almost like a 6 months. Okay, yeah. Then kind of like a content creation. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. The content creation is one of the really essential thing. I am doing this thing for almost like a 5 year. Every single day I make a content. Okay, yeah. So basically this thing, lot of my habits are inconsistent, and lot of my habits are kind of like assembly, just kind of like assembly building my person and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. But there is only one habit that I think that I am very difficult to maintain it, and I think that is a masturbation. Alright. Okay. So this is it. I should supposed to be end here, and thank you.